Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Sean and Sack Show on 11/11.
You won't get it on 11/11.
33.
Same thing.
But we're recording on 11/11. Guys, welcome to the show. We didn't film last week, but we're filming this week.
You were very, 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 very sick.
Yeah, the last 2 weeks have been a bummer. Like, we've been down. We've been sick. No bueno. I can still taste everything. I actually had a COVID test and it was negative. So the flu still exists, just FYI. Can we even say any of these things, or are we going to have like a big flashing thing that comes across the bottom, like warning people that I'm giving false information? Yeah, we haven't even put this episode up and it's already been flagged and pulled down by the fact checkers because I'm spreading false information about COVID. Anyways, guys, welcome to the show. So Sax and I, we did our Lions Den call yesterday, and
which is Sean's coaching group.
Which is my coaching group, yes. And Sax dropped a bomb on everybody.
Yeah,
which was really good.
Just
like
hit me.
It was one of those things, you hear something, you're like, whoa, that was really good. And we've been talking about it. I did a post about it. And it's been resonating and bouncing around on the interwebs, and people have been commenting about it and messaging her and messaging me about it. And it's opened up some really cool conversation, not only for us, but for quite a few people. Like I shared it on Instagram this morning, and a ton of people just responded to it like, holy shit, like that's like a huge epiphany and takeaway. So we wanted to talk about that in conjunction with a couple other things that have really been powerful for us in building a relationship around, building a big life, I guess, for lack of better words, building big businesses, doing big things. So do you want to tell everybody what you said, or do you want me to tell them what you said?
Sure. I'll tell them.
Sure what?
I'll tell them.
Okay, I wish we had like a drum roll. Like,
no, because then I'd be nervous.
Tell everybody what you said.
I said, ladies, do not kink the hose while your man is out there watering the grass. And to elaborate, I said, just because you fear the grass may become too green. Meaning, if we're talking about levels and growth, a lot of spouses, and we see this a lot in the coaching group, where one spouse will join and they're on fire and they're growing and they're inspired and they're shaking up everything in life. And the other partner is kind of left behind in a way, where they're left in the old ways. And so it's very disruptive. And so what happens a lot of times, you'll find that partner, in a way, it's like they'll be sabotaging this new ambition, this growth, this building. And, that's what I meant by kinking the hose. I had this visual of like, because, if the guy's out there and he's planting seeds and he's watering and he's ready for this grass to come, kinking the hose, it's like, oh, please don't, like, if you become too good or things become too great, there's that scarcity of, oh, maybe you'll leave, or maybe you'll outgrow me, or I don't want to change, so you changing makes me uncomfortable, so I'm going to sabotage.
I think it was a huge, number one, the visual is initially when you talk about kinking the hose, it's like you want to insert like your naughty jokes and the whole thing. But like the actual visual of that is huge, because you and I both have had experiences around that in relationships where we're pushing, we're wanting to grow, we're wanting to expand and thrive, and being with a partner who was literally kinking the hose, like creating the reality that we're not actually able to water the grass, or we're not able to do what we're doing, right? And to me, that was huge, because I've personally experienced that. And what makes our relationship really dynamic and cool is like you're the opposite of that. You're like wanting me, you're trying to turn the hose all the way on. Yeah. But I think this is huge for people to realize, because I want to look at it two ways. Number one, obviously people that are involved in coaching, what you're talking about is true. Like if you've ever been to, or a Tony Robbins event, let's just say a Tony Robbins event, everybody that goes to a Tony Robbins event gets jacked out of their fucking mind. They're yelling, they're screaming, they're jumping up and down, they're walking on fire, and they have this newfound love of life. They find all of these great tools and they read all of these things, and they come home on fucking fire. Yeah. Right? Well, their spouse, their significant other who didn't go with them or whatever else, they're like, dude, what are you fucking talking about? Like, get over here. Like, come back to Normalville, right? You got all hyped up on the freaking Tony juice. Like, come back down to Normalville. And I see that a lot. Like in coaching, we see that in coaching. You come to the Lions Less Sheep experience or Lions Den Live, and you have an incredible experience, breakthrough, whatever you want to call it. And then you go back to your quote unquote normal world, and the only real option is to kind of come back into where everybody else is, because everybody hasn't had that same experience with you. And it's a really, really, really difficult thing, which is why we're both, huge advocates for couples working together, growing together, investing together. I think it's radically important for both men and women, even if they're not working together, that they both have coaches. They're both on the path of movement, right? It doesn't matter if you're a stay-at-home mom or if you're a freaking banker. You're both moving forward in learning, growing, expanding, so on and so forth. But like, the idea that you want to build something and grow something, and that scares somebody. Like, that is a very real thing. It's a very real experience to think, well, just using guys for an example, guys out there growing his business, he's building his business, and he's now in the newspapers, or now he's in magazines, or he's getting press, and he's on the news and these other things, and here's the wife, the companion going, oh dude, like, it's great, but secretly it's like you're growing fast, or this is too fast, or this is too big, and there's that fear behind it.
And that's when that like
and one of two things happens. You either secretly harbor that, you hold on to that, you kind of put the smile on and great job, but inside, or you're literally kinking the hose, where, case in point, as your social media expands, right? And you and I have had this experience. As my social media expands and continues to grow, there's a lot of weird shit that happens. You've literally had women slide up into your DMs saying that they're still in an intimate relationship with me. Women that have never met, bogus accounts, fake shit, random shit. It's true. People think we're kidding when we say that. It's very true. And when you stop and think about that for 2 seconds, like, if you're not growing together, if you're not expanding together, if you're not on the same journey, or you're not even like communicating on how this is all playing out, your initial reaction is going to be like, whoa, what the fuck? And every time you show me these things, every time you talk about these things, it's literally in a very real way kinking this hose, like, because then we're having to stop and we're having to talk about it, and we're having to go through these experiences, and then it causes contention, and then it's like this fear and the entire deal. And we've both experienced that. That's very, very, very real.
Yeah. And also, like, when we're out and, Sean's on stage, and Sean's a very big presence, and people are very impacted by you, and you get people coming up to you all the time. They want a picture, and they want this, and as his spouse, I could take two approaches to this. I could either be jealous and annoyed,
men
or
and women. Men and women.
Yeah, I'm just saying, as a general, like, as in a partner to someone in that space, and you could apply whatever that fame or attention or growth or energy is to whatever your partner is building. But I could take one of two approaches. I could either have a lot of scarcity and be jealous and annoyed and have almost competition with you, to where I need to be on that same level, or I just know that I'm the star cheerleader, and the way I do handle it, and this is fully authentically who I am, is I ask, do you want me to take the picture? And I want to bring more and more and more goodness and abundance to our space, and especially if people like you, people follow you, people are very grateful for you. If anything, I want to reinforce that for their sake, for the people out there that are a part of your tribe. Like, I want them to be happy to come up to you and share those feelings with you. And I'm internally grateful for that. And the energy there, like, that's my responsibility to check that. And I can see how it could go both ways.
Well, and when you're, look, when you talk the evolution of a relationship, like, I think everybody's on board with the idea that when you get married, you create agreements, or you start a relationship, you create agreements, and a lot of those agreements are going to change over time.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to evolve. You're going to grow, right? When I got married, my first time I was dead ass broke. Like if I made $2,000 in a month, it was like, yo, we were balling. We went and got ice cream twice in a month, right? Our situation is radically different now, right?
Yeah.
And so there's going to be growth. There's going to be evolution. There's going to be changes in some of these things. But this is, I think, a really, really, really important thing for people to pay attention to, especially when you have someone who's very driven, someone who wants to grow, who wants to build, who wants to succeed, who wants to do big things in life. It's a scary proposition. It's scary because there's a lot of unknowns. You have to take a lot of risks. There's a lot of things that you're moving so quick that you don't have the time to sit and talk and work through a lot of these things, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's something that hit me when you talked about kinking the hose. Is it's like when you're out there trying to water, when you're out there trying to grow, when you're out there trying to build. I mean, case in point with me, I'll just use social media as an example. I'm constantly engaging on social media. I use social media as a huge portion of my business. I'm engaging with men and women and clients and people and all over the place, right? And we've talked about this. Like a lot of our friends are social influencers.
Right.
Like a lot of our friends, the guys are whether they're building businesses, or the girls or the women are fitness and influencers or yoga instructors or whatever. You would think from a 30,000 foot view, like me engaging with these women, liking their posts when they're in their yoga poses or their bathing suits or their whatever, that kinking idea is like, well, what is this, right? Or you liking any of these fitness guys that we hang out with that are jacked as shit, right? Well, why are you liking his picture or this or that or the other? There's a lot of scarcity around that. And I know that this sounds really funny to some people, but this is very real.
So real.
This is very, very, very fucking real. You believe it or not, more than anything else, like social media has become a really, really, really destructive thing if you're not able to really understand what it is and use it for such, right? And again, that boils down to, hey, if you are having some of these problems and social media is having this type of a wedge, if you will, there's a lot of other issues that need to be addressed. But from a 30,000 foot view, that's something where I'm supporting these people. I'm encouraging them. Like they're posting to get engagement, to get their messages out there, to get in new algorithms, to get in new feeds, as am I, as are you, right? And so you have two choices in that reality. Like if, as a husband looking at you, if you go like some one of our friends or some guy's picture who's out there, flexing and looking buff and whatever, I can kink the hose and be like, yo, what's up? Do you know this cat? Like what did and that small level shit. Or it's that, like, let's help build that fucking guy up, right?
Yeah.
Like, let's help support that guy. Let's help him do what he's doing. And that's something I think people need to pay specific attention to, because it's a lot of these little things that are the kinks that we're not communicating on. And what I wrote in my post this morning about this is, I truly believe transparency and communication are the foundation of a relationship. But I truly believe that, like, as you're growing, I mean, me communicating with you what I'm doing, where I'm going, where things are, and then you having the trust and the confidence in me to go out and do what I'm doing and build big things without micromanaging or needing to know every single thing is a massive thing. Would you agree?
Absolutely. Someone commented on that post too. They said, because she had worked with her husband for like 27 years, and she said, a business can either be a mistress or your baby. And it's up to, and I thought, damn, that's so good.
Yeah.
And it was in the power of the partner, the non-dominant, person in the business to make that decision, because one way or another, that business will exist. Are you going to raise it together with love and compassion and connectiveness and like abundance, or are you going to treat it as a mistress and it's what's always between you? Right. You're always in competition with that, and you get to decide that. And I thought, damn, that was such a powerful comment. So thank you for posting that over
here. And a good example would be like the Lion's Den. There are a lot of really incredible, powerful women that are inside of the Lion's Den. Business owners, that are crushing it. And there are some that are married, there's some that are single. And what I've loved about, our connection is you're seeing me build, and this is a perfect example of this kinking the hose. You're seeing me build this group and this tribe and this reality. And as that grows, like, you're actually helping water it even more, because now that these people are inside of this business that I've built, you're an intricate part of that.
Yeah.
And so I think what a lot of people miss, and a lot of guys I think miss this, is, kind of keeping their spouse or their significant other at arm's length with the business. Like, I'm going to run the business. I'm going to handle the business. I'm going to go hunt and kill the buffalo. You run the home thing. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of advantage to having your significant other involved in what you're doing.
Absolutely.
And whatever frame that looks like, and wherever you want that to be, it is what it is. But I know for me, like, having Dan and Casey Fleischman,
Mm-hmm.
Like, as Dan builds these events and has these incredible events all over the world, having Casey there, like, there's so many people that show up to learn from Dan that also know Casey. Mm-hmm. They follow, like, there are fitness professionals, and if you guys don't know who we're talking about, go look them up, Dan and Casey Fleischman. But Dan is a big business guy, huge entrepreneur, and Casey is a fitness influencer.
Today's your anniversary, actually.
Yeah, happy anniversary, Dan and Casey. There's a lot of people that are learning from Dan, the business end of mm-hmm. things, who are connected to Casey at the same time, that are in that same space, right?
Yeah.
So as a lot of these women have come into the den with me to learn, business or social media, they now connect with you and have this new connection that didn't exist without us being together and without us both building this and both watering. I think that's a huge thing for me, knowing that, not only, number one, you've got my back in what I'm doing, but I think a lot of guys, and again, take this for what it's worth, fellas, like, I think a lot of men overlook how powerful their wife could be mm-hmm. in building the business and bringing them in. And I'm always talking to you about where I'm going, what I'm doing, ideas, things that are happening, good, bad, otherwise.
All of it.
All of it, right?
Because it's our baby.
It's our baby,
it's our
right?
baby.
And you
mm-hmm.
being in the know as much as possible, I think, is what really helps us water together. Mm-hmm. And you're pushing me to go water more without there being well, what about this and what about that?
And that's what's
this and
that. That's the thing too, is like, I don't come back when you bring me things. I don't critique it and mm-hmm. judge it and find the problems. I just show up and be of service and be an open, be an ear. And if you ask for my opinion or you ask for something, I will give it to you. And that right there is why we have such an open flow of this is what's going on, because you can bring me things and I'm not micromanaging you. I'm not shutting it down.
Right.
I'm not, picking it apart. Okay, another one is like the guy who talked about, a big thing that he's realized is where he goes out and he plants a seed and he's got all his seeds down. And now he's starting to water them, and he's got his wife that's already nagging him, where's the harvest?
Right.
And that's huge too, is as a partner, you have to trust the timing mm-hmm. of what's going on, right? And so if he's out there putting seeds, like, it could take years to have a successful company. It could take, a few failed businesses and before someone becomes highly successful. And to have that instant gratification, like, that's kinking the hose. When you're like, I want it now, where is it? Where is it? That nagginess or that scarcity, like, you're kinking the hose.
Yeah. You brought up a couple other things on this, and like being partners and teammates and supporting that. Talk about that for a second. Because I like how you were
elaborate.
Sharing. Before we got on at the house, we were talking about, kinking the hose, and then you don't remember?
No.
I have to do everything around here, babe.
Yeah.
Like, don't you have a phone? You take notes and shit. Like, are you not prepared for these?
Well, you gave me a question. I don't know I can't remember what
you talked about being the cheerleader and being the biggest cheerleader and supporting.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, to me, it's like, I don't need to be. The way I look at us, for instance, is I love being your cheerleader. I don't need to be on stage because you're on stage. That's not how this works. And so to me, it's like, I know that I'm most powerful and I create the most flow in that hose when I am just in full, like, I am full on your teammate. I am full on your cheer squad. Like, whatever you need from me, I'm there. Like, I am praising you when things are great. I'm like holding space for you when things are hard. Like, I'm just there, and I show up. My goal is to always show up in the most positive, encouraging, grounded way possible, because that, I know, is what's going to continue to get us farther together in the business zone.
Yeah. I like how you shared it. You were, this is this is something that I haven't experienced until, you and I got together, is really truly being your spouse's or your significant other's biggest cheerleader. Mm-hmm. And I see a lot of this in business, and I hadn't experienced this until you and I. So I have polarity. Like, I've experienced both, where we create a lot of division between home and work. We create, this is your job and this is my job. I'm just going to go do my thing. You're going to go do your thing. And something that I think is, speaking personally, has helped me be more free and be more willing to risk, more willing to build, more driven to build, is having you be that cheerleader, you being that supporter, like having the utmost faith and confidence in what I'm doing. And so I want people to understand and I mean, implore people to really look at, if you're with your significant other, like just assume you're married, listening to this, like, there should not be anybody else who is a bigger cheerleader of your husband or your wife.
Facts.
You should be that person. Yeah. And so if you're not, like, ask yourself why. Why am I not? And that really, I think, breaks down a lot of barriers. Well, I don't trust him. Okay, cool. Let's talk about that. Let's have a conversation around that. Or, well, he's a shitty businessman, or she's a this, or he's tried 2 or 3 things and they failed. I think really looking at that from a husband and wife standpoint, I don't think there's anything bigger that we can do for each other. Obviously, number one, than keeping our own cups full. Mm-hmm. But number two, like, truly cheering on the other person, like supporting the other person, encouraging the other person, right? Like, you get it a lot from people online. I get it from people online. We get it from mommy and daddy and, our family and the whole thing. But when you're talking about building a kingdom, when you're talking about building an empire together, like, that has to be your refuge. It's not a business partner. It's not a friend. It's not a lawyer. It's not a colleague. Like, your significant other, in my opinion, should be your biggest cheerleader. You should be the biggest advocate of your partner's success, growth, advancement on the planet, without question.
I totally agree. It is, and that's like...
It's an interesting dynamic, and we I don't want to cut you off, but we're this is something that you and I think do really, really, really well. But I think we do it really well because we didn't do it really well for a long time. And this is something I really wanted to impress on you guys, is those of you that are listening. I know they've got a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of business owners, a lot of people that are starting, a lot of people have been around the block that have been married for, who knows how long. This is if you're not that person right now, like, you really got to step back and check that. And ask yourself why. Yeah. And, like, literally look at your person and be like, this is my fucking person. This is my husband. This is my wife. Like, we've been married for 10, 12, 15, 18 years, and I'm not radically passionately, like, wanting this person to fucking win. If I'm not their biggest cheerleader, why? Yep. And I think that could solve a lot of marriage problems, a lot of relationship problems. I think when you can truly, like, cheer your person on genuinely, like, truly want them to win, there crosses a threshold there of, like, a lot of animosity, a lot of fear, a lot of resentment, maybe a lot of things from the past. And I promise you, like, one of the most motivating things for me now, being a business owner, being a father, I've been a business owner for a long time, but I think the reason that the speed is moving as quick as it is for us and for me personally is because I have that from you. Yeah. And knowing that where I go, what I do, like, you've got my back, like, you're going to be cheering me on, like, you trust that I'm going to go out and make good decisions regardless of wherever I go, whatever I do, whatever the big check is that we got to write or investment that we make. Yeah. And that's something that's really, really, really important to me. Something that I've put in, my pipe to smoke is, like, I want to be your biggest cheerleader. So at the end of the day, like, when all things are taken apart, That's the one person you know you can trust. That's the one person you know that has your back. It's the one person that's going to keep you in check. It's the one person that's going to tell you the truth. It's the one person who's going to, always be there. But I strongly advocate that, you guys take a look at that and ask yourself truly, don't ask your partner, but ask yourself, are you your partner's biggest cheerleader? And I don't do that because of you. Like, I want to make that super clear. This is, again, that competition model in relationships. Like, I'm not a cheerleader for you because you're a cheerleader for me. Like, I want to be the biggest cheerleader for you, period. And I think those of you that are listening to this, like, when you can put that hat on and reframe that, and truly be that person, it could help a lot of different marriages and a lot of different relationships a lot of different ways.
Yeah, absolutely. And even just being grateful. Like, you've got this person who's out there and they're risking it and they're working their ass off and they're dreaming. Like, those are huge. Like, those are huge things that most people don't do. Most people don't start their own businesses.
Right.
Most people will stay in a very safe, comfortable cubicle, retire from some corporate job, and there's nothing wrong with that. But if you have a partner that's ambitious enough to go out there and pursue their dreams, who cares if they flop and fail? Like, this is what life's about, guys. And be grateful for the fact that you have a brave, ambitious partner, because, look at the world around us. Like, watch that. What is that show we just watched about the people, the men who made America, built America? Like, you look at the risks and the cojones they had to build our country to what it is. It's like, holy shit, that takes, like, that's, I mean, it's mind blowing. So just if all you can do on some days is just be grateful that you have an ambitious partner. I mean, that is, to me, like, that's the biggest quality that I love about you, is that you're so ambitious. Like, see that, find gratitude in just that. It is scary sometimes. There is a lot of risk involved, but the truth is most successful people will continue to become successful even after they fail. Right. And it's because it's a mindset, and it's an energy, and it's an ambition, and just spend more time being grateful for the partner that you have.
Yeah. Amen.
Yeah.
Don't kink the hose while your partner is watering the lawn. It's a great quote, babe. That's going to be we need to make that into a meme.
A meme.
Like a sexy ass picture of you.
Kink.
Yeah,
I do. You know what?
Bikini shot, you with the hose. Don't kink the hose.
I actually do have a really funny photo from my redneck birthday party years ago where I was playing with the hose in my heels in my backyard.
Done. It
is.
Ladies and gentlemen, I promise you, if you go to my Instagram, by the time you listen to this, it's a high probability you'll see that meme floating somewhere around my Instagram. Oh, Jesus.
I had my son take that picture, bless his heart. No wonder he moved out and never came back.
He's going to need therapy. Mom had me taking all these crazy pictures of her in the backyard, squirting herself with the hose.
I had a great redneck birthday party. It was amazing. That was the invitation cover. But yeah.
I didn't go to that party. We'll have another.
I didn't know you yet.
Oh. That was a long time
That was
ago.
BS before Sean.
Guys, support your partner even when they're fucking weird in the backyard with a garden hose, asking their kids to take pictures of them.
You chose me, sugar.
I know. I'm glad I didn't know about the fucking garden hose thing until now. It might have been a deal breaker. Probably not. I probably would have been like, yo, send me that picture. I'm sure it's fucking hot. Guys, support your partner. Be the biggest cheerleader. Thanks for being my biggest cheerleader, babe.
You're welcome, honey.
Anything else you want to say? Any other admissions you want to make here live on the air now about kinky pictures in the backyard?
Nope. I think that's it. I think we're good.
All right. If you click on the link below, you'll find Saxony's calendar that will be coming out for 2022.
Sax kinks the hose.
Dude, you're full of them. That's a great one-liner. Sax kinks the hose.
Gonna buy the URL.
There's so many sexual things that are going to be said about that, and I'm okay with it. I like it.
I'm a free woman.
Speaking of that, let's go kink the hose.
Let's go kink that hose, babe.
Guys, we love you. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time.
Love y'all. Bye.
Bye.